Hi, family. This channel is all about witchcraft and voodoo, but occasionally, once again, sometimes it strays off of topic, okay? This is one of those videos, but I must make an announcement. Don't think that I'm talking, to, talking as if though I am that important, but I know to some people just want to hear what I gotta say, and I gotta say this. I have made up my mind and I have decided as of today, I will no longer embrace, claim, okay, the African American culture, okay? And I must say that, and this is why let me go further on this. I am not African American. Now, what is an African American? I think we need to talk about that. I want to go into the history of how the African American name came for us. Now, who decided it? I don't know. I don't know if they were even so-called African Americans themselves. I really don't know who chose this title for us, okay? But I refuse to embrace that. And I don't have to. You know, we have been defined here in the European Western culture as being African Americans, Europeans, or Caucasians, or Asians, uh, what else? Whatever, okay? And it's like you have to choose one of those titles and put yourself in there and just fit into that, mold, whatever. And when you go to other countries and you say, I'm an African American, a lot of those people do not quite understand what you're talking about. But if you say, I'm an American, then they understand where you're coming from. So the history of African American. Well, first of all, I don't know who chose that, but if you all know the group of people or whoever it is that the committee that sits down and decide what to call particular culture, if you know anything about who does that, y'all please let me know because I'd love to do some research because I was not there to put my 2 cents in. So I decided that if I did not take a part in it myself to choose the title for this race of people who reside here in the United States of America, because if you go somewhere else to other countries, you don't necessarily, you're not characterized or categorized as being, an African American. You are an American citizen or an American. So, so I've decided that I will not um, check African American. I will not um, abide by any type of title or anything like that. Any kind of rules when it comes to making a selection as defining who I am. I've decided that, I'm going to opt out of that. Okay. Because I had nothing to do with it. And so it's not me. It doesn't say who I am. So I'm not an African American anymore. I'm not choosing that title. And I know you all want to know why, and I'm going to get to that. Okay. So, how did African American come about? I really don't know, but I'm just going to take a guess at it. Let me take a stab at it. Well, maybe because they have decided we came from Africa, okay, and we are here as an American, okay. And I think we're the only group that must, choose another place outside of America to title ourselves, okay. So we have to choose another continent to title ourselves, even though we really don't know anything about Africa. I mean, um, may never ever get a chance to go there. Okay. So, and really there's no definitive proof that we're from Africa. Not saying that we're not now, don't that's not where I'm going with this. But if you look at yourself, you say, well, okay, I really don't know anything about the place, never gone in. My great great grandma and all the folks, they don't know anything about the place either. And but we have to choose the title African American because they say we came on a ship here, we were captive, and we were brought here. Okay, so like I say, so we must accept the history books because they decide what we will learn and they decide what history is, you know, and wherever it comes from, they know we don't. They say they have textbooks set aside, and they're going by the old ancient textbooks that say this is what it is. Okay, anyway, so I guess that's why they decided to call us African Americans, even though there are all types of cultures here, all different countries and continents. We must take the title. So that's how it probably came about. But then I look at the history since I've been here for some decades. I remember looking at my mom's birth certificate, my dad's birth certificate. It said that they were colored people. Colored, whatever that means, okay? Meaning that you have a color, okay? And then that changed. That was like the 40s, 50s. Then all of a sudden the 60s came and you were Negroes. That's what you were. You were Negroes. Then the committee got together again and said, I don't know, Negroes don't quite sound right. How about, came along in the 70s, we call them Afro Americans. We are Afro Americans. We have afros, okay? So I guess that was not good enough. And then they said, okay, we're just going to call them black. I think in the 80s, we were black people. Okay. Which, if you look at me, my skin is not necessarily black. I'm actually brown. Okay? I'm brown. A medium brown. So that was not good enough. We can't be black people because we're actually, most of us are yellow, red, brown. Some of us are even pale. So we had all these different colors. So it's not gonna work. We can't call them black, and we can't even call them Afro Americans because some people wear perms, weaves, and dreadlocks, and some people actually they're black but their hair is still fine and straight. So that's not going to work. How about we call them African American people? Woohoo! We'll call them African American people. So that's the name. I guess that's how they came up with that. So I have decided that I am no longer going to check African American status on any applications. I have decided that my race and who I am and how I should be defined, and I'm going to tell you that at close to the end of the video. I'm going to tell you what that's going to be, okay? But anyway, it won't be African American because I am not an African American. Now, I don't want to get into what I really am. I don't really want to get into that much, but I kind of got a feeling where I'm from, and I'm going to tell you where I'm from. And you're going to be like, well, wow, you were saying you was not going to accept that, but now you turn around and you say that's what you are. Okay, anyway. No, I'm not black because my skin is brown. No, I'm not self-hating. You want to know why I will not be claiming the title African American. Let's talk about this. This is why I won't. And this is true to my heart. There is such a division in this group of people, in this community. I do not want to be a part of whatever it is right now. There is so much conflict and confusion and bickering and so many disagreements and arguments and debates. I refuse to accept the title African American. Okay? Now, let's talk about what's causing some of this confusion. Okay? And all of this mayhem. Well, what's going on right now is, the media plays a role in it. You got TV, you got magazines, and you got your social media. And just about everything in those different departments is anti this skin. Okay? It's anti what you want to call it, African American, anti black, anti whatever, black skin, whatever. But the people in the community fail to realize that. Therefore, people on the outside of the community, because sometimes it takes the people on the outside looking in to know exactly what's going on inside, because the people inside really sometimes don't have a clue, or they just ignore it and they just don't want to deal with it. But the people on the outside are looking inside and they're shaking their heads. They're saying, this is ridiculous. These people are totally out of their minds. I refuse to be a part of the African American community. You can count me out. There are no incentives anyway. There's no incentives to be African American, because there is just too much division in it. I can't be a part of that anymore. This one blaming the women, blaming the men blaming the women. But I can't understand why they can't see that it's the media. What is the problem? These people are going berserk. This is crazy. I mean, I'm just sorry. This is just totally out of control. And I no longer will represent myself as an African American woman or a black woman. I don't want to have anything to do with that culture while they go through, and the media and the powers that be, and like I say, social media is responsible for every bit of it. And who are these people behind the curtains? Okay, you do the math. But anyway, it's plain to see. Shame on the people for not being able to recognize it. There are too many weak minds in this community. And I'm not talking about all African American people, because I'm quite sure there are some very strong ones. But they are not stepping up, and I see nothing on the web. I see nothing on TV showing me where these strong people are saying, hey, wait a minute. We cannot allow, this media to do this psychological genocide on the people, on the race. And they're not stepping up. So, like I said, this is not a place I want to be anymore. Okay. Um, I refuse to be labeled anything like that, because it's an embarrassment to me. At this age, as I grow old, I see no hope, for the community. I see nothing but destruction. They have fallen into the hands of who whoever the powers that be are. They have, you know, fallen to their own demise and fail to realize that, hey, we must strengthen ourselves for the children, and give them some hope, because these children need this um the strength to be able to grow up and to be sane, law abiding individuals. And it's not there. I see a lot of abandonment in these households. where there are no longer males in the household. They're just predominantly female in nature. And I'm not saying this is all of them, but the fact that it's just one of them, there is a problem, you know? So all this blaming, oh, it's her fault. Oh, it's his fault. It's once again the fault of those who control power, and the fact that the people are so ignorant and do not want to recognize something that is so simple. I am ashamed and I don't want to no longer be in it. Okay. And I know you all are saying, well, just don't be in it. But I still want to talk because I know that there are some people out there that feel the same way that I do, and I'm proud of who I am. But I don't want to be in that group. Okay. Spare me. There's no incentives. There, you know, I hate to get on race so harshly, but when I look at America, okay, and I see what has happened to this group of people, when I see the bondage and the captivity that they were in physically, spiritually, psychologically for so long, and even now it's a psychological bondage at this point. And there has been no compensation for what has happened to these people. They said they did give them some compensation, and that's welfare. And that's one of the worst things that has ever happened to the community. Welfare, community projects, and that's what it was. It was a project. Let's see what happens if we pile a whole lot of people on top of themselves in a city with just concrete, no trees, no whatever. Let's see what happens to the people. Now we see what happens to the people. Now, I'm not talking about all of the group of people. I'm talking about some of them, those who were housed in these boxes, in these crates. Okay, so they've done the study, and no longer are there too many projects in America. For a lot of you who may be viewing me overseas, what is a project? A project, excuse my parents, y'all. A project is actually a building of many houses or compartments of bedrooms, okay? Multi-family homes, okay? That's what it is. And you allow people of low income to live in these, because low income people, poor people will always be subject to some type of experiments, because if you accept any kind of handouts, then accepting the handout is saying that, you also accept the fact that you are a guinea pig. So these people, I think the study started in the 1950s. A lot of those are in some of your major cities like Chicago, New York, Boston, and different places like that. They even have them down south, and you can find them in Birmingham, Atlanta, Jacksonville, and New Orleans, and many, like I say, major cities, urban areas in the United States of America. So these people will stay here for free. I think they get like free rent. Rent might be like $10, $5, 300, 400, whatever your income, says that you can pay. And you stay in these places with concrete floors most of the time, no carpeting, no hardwoods. It's almost like inhumane. It's similar to a correctional facility, because when you go in those, they kind of similar the concrete floors that are painted or whatever. It's all a setup, guys. It's every bit of it. Like that, I talked about the schools and public schools and how they mimic the prisons, and how the projects mimic the prisons. It's a setup to get you in these environments and to get you to act a certain kind of way so that you can come out and be a menace and to society and wind up in one of these particular places, because that's where they want to put most people that look like myself, that identify with the group of people who they say I identify with, that that's this color, that's where they want to put them on. Okay. And that's what they were designed for. America um, has more prison systems within it than any other continent. Well, any other country. I'm sorry, any other country. Okay, on the planet. Okay, so and that's the reason why we have more guns, we have more drugs in this place, we have a whole lot of stuff here that prepares most to go behind bars. Okay, that's what it's designed for. All of this is by design. And see, the people in the community, they fail to see that. Instead, they abandon it and they go forward and they take their money when they do get money, and they take it outside of the community and they put it somewhere else. You know, and I think it's because when you sign the dotted line, you accept the fact that when you do get the wealth, that your wealth will be going in other places other than in your own community. And if you do not, take that oath to do so, then you won't be getting that money. Okay. And so we have just really sold our souls. You know what I'm saying? We have sold our souls with our music, talent, athletic ability, in so many different ways. Because I really can't blame them. I can't argue with them, but it's like the only way out, and it's like the way it's designed. You're pinned in, and there is no other way but to do it that way. And so they give up and they abandon ship. Um, but once again, this is what is all designed to do in the first place. My whole problem with the situation is that the group of people within the community do not want to acknowledge that's what it is. They instead they blame each other. So I will not be embracing any of that anymore. No, I'm not. That's not my category. Um, and I sat down and I thought about this all night long. And if I could, I would tell you what I feel in my heart right now. I really, you know, it's a lot I hadn't told y'all about myself. Okay. I am going to tell y'all a little bit about myself. Okay. Most of my people are from Benin, and Nigeria. Okay. And a few of them Liberia. Okay. I have cousins. Okay. That are mostly from Liberia. Okay. And for a long time, to be honest with y'all about that, I was embarrassed about that. I was embarrassed about that when I found out the information, and one day I'm gonna read that letter to y'all with my biological mother. And I noticed something. I saw something. My biological sister. I don't know if you're watching this or not. You might not be watching, but I see you changed your YouTube account, and you didn't really have to do that, because guess what? I'm not necessarily going to go back to that account, and I definitely would not call your name for the life of me. Okay? So your privacy is totally secure with me. So I'm not going to mention you. Okay? So I know how that is. I never ever breach privacy. I never do that. But I want to talk about my birth mother a little bit. I can talk about her, and I know that my birth sister is very sensitive about it because my birth mother raised her, and I can understand how she feels. She wants to be very private and give her mom some room. Matter of fact, she told me when I told her I wanted to visit my birth mother, and I'm not gonna call her name. My birth sister said that I needed to be patient. And what she didn't understand is this. I mean, I can understand you saying be patient because your biological mother was there with you, but you can never understand how it would feel if she was not there for you, like she was not there for me. Okay. But anyway, I said all this to say this right here. When the records came to me, well, not matter of fact, I went to a little place here in Birmingham. Well, first of all, I had to go to the courts. I went to the courts and I asked the judge to allow me to see my records. And he wrote me a letter, came in the mail. He said, okay, you can have access because all of those documents are sealed. Recently they enacted a law where every adoptee has the right to know who their biological parents are for medical reasons, especially. So, had come of age, my adopted mother had passed, and I felt so alone. It was just like I was the only person in the world. Realizing it now, I had everything in the world because I had my children. But I just couldn't see that then, and I decided. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go and get these records." And I thought it was somebody in the family. It turned out in my adopted family, it turned out not to be. It turned out that it was someone else, okay, way out in left field. Matter of fact, she lives up north. I'm not going to even call the city and state anymore because I got a feeling my biological sister is watching, and I'm not going to, like I said, put y'all business out there in the street because I know they are very worried. When I last talked to my biological mother, she was very worried because she had a life outside of me and two other sisters that I have that were her daughters, three daughters that she put up for adoption that she didn't tell her family and friends about. So she don't want to all of a sudden compromise a relationship with these people for us for whatever reason. We could say it's wrong, we could say it's right, we could say whatever we want to say it is, but it is what it is. Okay. So that's why I won't call the city, the state, the name. So I went and I sat down with them, and the lady read what was on the record, and I was devastated. I'm getting emotional just sitting down here thinking about it. So, because I'm letting y'all in on my private business, even my naysayers and my enemies, and my rivals, and my competition. But all of this is what made me who I am. But y'all see I'm short, bro. I sat down. I was young. Not very young, but young. And she got the paperwork out. She read it. She said, you were born in Dallas County, Alabama, Selma, Alabama. And I was like, okay, I already knew that. And she said, your mother, she said, I can't tell you her name. Under the law, she's protected. But here's your story. And she reads, she says, mother is very, very dark skinned, which I got a chance to see what she really looks like. And she's not very, very dark skinned, but the lady was saying that more than likely it was a Caucasian lady who wrote the paperwork up. And even the lightest of an African American would be probably seen to a Caucasian woman as being somewhat dark skinned. But when I did see my birth mother, she would be what we would consider to be a light caramel color. That's her real color. And they said that I was dusky, dark brown skin. Okay, so it described me. It said I was like 2 years old. So I was two or three, something like that. No, 6 months. I was 6 months old, and she told the story about, and then even said she had a cute little bob cut, haircut, whatever that is, and she had on a skirt, and it even described her clothes she had on, and it even described I had on a pink pajama outfit with the polka dots. I mean, it was very. Matter of fact, I got on pink pajamas now with white polka dots. That's crazy, isn't it? And she came in, and I think a lot of you all know the story of how she couldn't take care of me. She wanted to put me up for adoption. She said her father doesn't give me anything, and she said that she had 8 or 9 different men she brought me. But she said, "Oh, this guy's the father, that guy's the father. All these different people were the fathers." Okay, so to tell you the truth, I probably really will not know who the father is out of 8 different men. And I can understand why my birth sister wouldn't want me to talk about that, because that's embarrassing. It was embarrassing to me. And oh, I boo-hoo cried, honey. She had to give me a box of tissues because it was so disappointing to know that I had a poor mother, that was in the rural South, rural Alabama at that, in the backwoods of Alabama, trying to raise me, struggling. I think they gave her a $5 or $10 welfare check. But the only way they'll do it is she brought a father in to the place. Well, this particular guy that she brought in, y'all do the math, is y'all know what he was. Okay? Y'all know what he was. He was a bridge builder. And yes, that's if it's him, because we're not sure. He was African. Most definitely he was. Yes, I did get a chance to see him. And I will tell you what his name is. I'll tell you what his name is. I won't tell, and I'm not going to tell you his last name, but I'll tell you his last name. When they told me of what he was, it was embarrassing. For a long time, I was embarrassed about that. And I boo-hoo cried. Okay? What was his nationality? He was Liberian. That's what they said he was. He was Liberian. And so I did my research, and I was like, dang, this. I was telling my kids, I said, this man African. And because in African American culture, that's you're embarrassed. No one wants to say they're from Africa. Who wants to admit that? No one wants to admit that they're from there. We were taught it was a jungle, and it's a place with a whole lot of butt naked people running around with spears in their hands, and and bones in their nose and lip plates, and it was an embarrassment as kids growing up. And even at that time, I was so just so out of it. It was just crazy the way I thought. I just thought crazy. And so I'd rather hear that he was someone else. Anyway, so when I got a chance to meet this guy, he told me a lot about himself. They were talking to him, and I'm going to tell you what his name was. His name is, let me tell you what his name is. I don't know if the man is alive or not. I was told to leave it alone, don't bother with it anymore. He had actually really no family here. He had children, and he had a wife that he has now. And my mom and him, they sat on the phone and they talked. His name was, I'm not going to tell you. I can't do that because I know she watches. But when I talked to my other 2 sisters, it was like, girl, she said, ain't no telling who it is. I feel in my heart and soul that it got to be. Because I'm not quite like most of these church-going folks up in here in Birmingham. I just don't fit in with these guys, man. I'm just so different from them, It's just like when I go in a crowd around these people, It's like I stick out like a sore thumb, and I just don't feel a part of the group. I just don't feel a part of it. Where I fit in, I don't know, but I just don't fit in with these guys. I really don't. So anyway, with the women, all I love is God, and all I like to do is read the Bible, and I'm going to buy my big hat, and I'm gonna get my dress and a bag to match, and all preacher preach, honey, he preach. That's not me. And to me, what really here, I'm in the Bible Belt, okay, and I was born in the Black Belt, and honestly, a lot of people, if you're not from here, don't comment, but most people down south know what I'm talking about. That's all the culture is about. The African American community, the Black community in the South, in the Black Belt, especially where I was born, and the Bible Belt. It's all about the church, and that's all. If you want to strike up a good conversation, okay, with an African American woman down here in the South, just talk about the church, okay? And that's just not me. You know, I love the Lord too, but I just don't think we have to talk about him all day and all night long. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I cried. I was really upset about that. She said that he had not much of nothing. He wouldn't give to her whatever they gave her a welfare check. She brought 8 other men in there, y'all. Just gonna be honest with y'all. She really did. But I embraced him a little bit more later in my life. I said 2 years later, I decided that I was gonna go ahead and meet him. Okay, so I met up with him 2 years later after I, had an opportunity to talk to her on a speakerphone, on a conference phone, while she speak to my supposed daddy. And he didn't give me a hug or nothing like that. He shook my hand, whatever that means. I saw him, and you know, he was an interesting looking character. I'm just gonna leave it like that. It was so disappointing. The English was kind of broken. It was, and y'all probably say, "Mama, your English broken too." It was not good, clear English, even though he had been here for a long time. It was like this, almost like a slave type talk, the way he was talking, like almost like Gollum, like. And and I'm just gonna give you an example. I just hope they're not watching this because they really, really. I'm not gonna say it because they were really a poor family, and there's a lot of embarrassment when I contacted them. And I can understand because they knew I grew up a little bit more well off, and they're sensitive about it. And one day I may talk about, the conditions in the rural South in Alabama, how they lived. Matter of fact, I've already done it, so you can see it on some past videos, y'all. Anyway, because I hate to take up y'all time because that's not quite what y'all want to hear. Most of you all are coming here for the witchcraft and the hoodoo. But there are some people that say, "Hey, Mama, I still like to hear your stories. I still want to know about life in the rural South, life in where the civil rights movement was right here in Birmingham." And matter of fact, that's pretty cool because, Selma is where I was born, right by the Alabama River, by the Black Belt. You know, that's where I was born. And that's also where Bloody Sunday took place on Pettus Bridge. And yes, that was my lifetime. A lot of people like to hear about it. And here in Birmingham is where Martin Luther King led the march for equality, for equal rights for really all people, to tell you guys the truth. Because a lot of women were, suppressed, oppressed. I'm sorry. So oppression was going on also with women. Women wanted equal rights. So anyway, I decided 2 years later I want to see this. I want to see this man. So the lady I told you that actually was the midwife that delivered me. I always call her name Mary Bell. God rest her soul. She is deceased now. she said, I'm going to make an arrangement. She had a big farm where she grew vegetables, watermelons, and you know, honey, you know, black folks love watermelon. That's what they said. Now, all people, it's a lot of people like watermelons and stuff. That's not true. That cliche is not true. And all black people like watermelons. Sometimes I just throw a joke in there, because none of my children like it. I have 3 children and they do not like watermelon. Me, it's all right. It ain't no big deal for me. But there's this thing that we gotta have it. But I tell you what, Big Mama love herself some watermelon. Oh God, rest her soul. Big Mama, if she was alive right now, she'd be 140 years old, I believe. Anywho, I want to see this man. Mirabelle said, come down here. She said, I've been in my garden. She said, I got 25 watermelons out of there, all kind of purple hull peas. And y'all might not know what purple hull peas are, but they're like black eyed peas, but they're in the purple hulls. And it tastes a little bit better than the ordinary black eyed pea that you would normally get. I don't know. Maybe all black eyed peas come out of a purple hull. She said, I got cantaloupe. I got corn. Y'all, guys, I had some king corn. Man, it was so good. She said, I got corn and string beans and what else Big Mama had? Not Big Mama. What else did Mirabelle have in that garden? She had so many tomatoes and green tomatoes and all of that. She said, so I'm gonna cook us a big feast. I said, okay. I come down there. She was in there with both of her brothers and stuff, and she cooked. Mirabelle was kind of nasty because you just don't take dirty forks somebody ate off of, wipe them off with a paper towel, and then give it to somebody to eat. Okay, some of my people in the crew that came down there with me got sick. They got a cold, you know, because you wash your forks and spoons, your utensils and your dishes in pots and pans in hot water with dish detergent. Anyway, I noticed my cousins, they came. And it was so fascinating to me because I was like, oh my God, I was able to see someone that was related to me. Blood kinship. I was like, oh my God. You know, and but I didn't see any similarities. I didn't see anything. And I can call her name. Claudette showed up and some others. And Squabby. And I can call some of their names because they'll never watch this video. Everybody's some kind of Squabby. I'm like, Dad, every Squabby is everybody's auntie. My God, I was talking to 2 people in the church when I went down home to Lowndes County. And I talked to 2 girls because it was a girl had her locks going. And she had no hair really up in the top. I don't have much hair in the crown of my head. You know, we tend to grow our hair on the sides. And our crown falls. The hair falls. I was like, oh, your locks are so cute. She said, girl, I don't know. I can't get them to thicken up here in the crown up in here. She said they won't thicken up like that. And I was like, mine won't either. I'm kind of like, look like I'm kind of bald up here too. And, you know, we got to talking. She said, girl, Squab is my auntie. I said, girl, Squab is my auntie too. And 2 other women, Squab is my auntie. Squabby is everybody's auntie. Anyway, they had a family reunion down there in Lowndes County. But so all my cousins came. Everybody came to meet and greet me. And they called this man up on the phone. He shows up, we talk, and it was a disappointment. He said he had children, but really no family here. And I don't know why. And he talked to her, and it was his first time hearing about me. And he was like, she never told me anything about a child. And he said, I want to talk to her. He talked to her, and he said, he told my birth mom, she was on the 3-way because she doesn't live in Alabama. She lives in another state, New England state. But anyway, he was like, this lady is in her 30s. You know, why didn't you tell me about her? And she wasn't saying much. She was just basically asking him, when is he going to come up there to visit her? She never ever asked when was I coming up to visit. She was only concerned about him coming up there. Anyway, so I wanted to go do some research on that. I said, I want to look this Liberia thing up. So I went and I looked it up and I found out about some of the culture. And it was interesting. But I said, I want to know, how could this man get to Alabama from there? I haven't had that conversation with him. I told my auntie, I said, I really want to find this man again because I was admonished by Belle, which is resting in her grave. She was like, don't do that. It's easy for you to say don't do that when you know who your people are. Okay. But it ain't easy for me. I at this point in my life, I'm not gonna allow anyone else to tell me how to take care of this situation. Don't go up there and visit your birth mom if she don't want to be bothered with you. Don't do it, which I'm not going to do it, okay? Because I don't want to go up there anyway. But if I decide that I want to know more information about something, I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me what to do. I'm going up there to do it for myself because I get this one life to live, and eventually these people are going to be gone. I think my birth mother is 69 years old. She almost 70. These people be up and gone, and then I would have killed any opportunity that I would have had to find out more information about myself. Okay, so who knows? I may go on a quest to find this man so I can get more information on him. How you get here? What, are you really from there? Is this just talk? Are you the one? Okay. So I did all my research on that, and that's how I came up with some of my information. Later, I was able to contact with some of his information, some of the family members on his side of the family, and it was pretty cool. They were in Detroit, Michigan. Um, they were of African descent. There were quite a few doctors. I only talked to one of the doctors. Okay. Last name, got a hint, can't tell you. Got a chance to talk to him. He invited me to the family reunion, and this was way back like 2002. 2002, I was invited to these people of African descent. I was invited to their family reunion. It was in New York. I didn't go, and I had gotten the invitation and everything. I still know where he is, where they are. They're in. Most of them are in Detroit. They're up north and everything. He was able to tell me that they. That's what I like about these people. They know their history. They know who they are. They're proud of their people and their culture. And I'd rather be a part of something like that than to be in a group of people who are just a disgrace to themselves. People that cannot see for themselves that all of this is orchestrated by a race of people who do not like people of color. I'm not saying all people are like that, but the people who control this kind of power, who can once again design TV and work on you, it's psychological warfare. And the group of people in this race fail to see it. So I am no longer going to be embracing this. I will not be a part of this. Okay? So I have decided that I want to know more about my father's side and get to know them because I don't want to have anything to do with that anymore. Now, there's some people trying to work on the situation, and I'll applaud them. But where I'm at here right now, I can't deal with it. Oh my God, I can't handle it anymore. And it's hard to ignore it if you're gonna sit in there and look at it. You got to be self-absorbed in that. And I just wish sometimes that I would have had the opportunity to have grown more into my father's culture and gotten to know more about that than to be into this. And who knows, it may just be something going on in the South right now, and it's not all over the United States, but I kind of got a feeling this is all over the United States of America. And I think that's what it is. I think what it is a lot of people are abandoning the group because a lot of folks say, no, I'm going to marry outside of my race, and that's their way of abandoning it. No, these group of women are not my taste, and these group of men are not my taste, and just all of this going on. I'm sorry, I don't want to have anything to do with it either. I want out too. I want to disenroll. I don't want to disenroll because the psychological warfare is working on me. I want to disenroll because the psychological warfare is taking a toll on the group. Because if they could only pay close attention to like things that a lot of these, like there are a lot of Afrocentric groups who are trying to strive to fix the situation and fix the problem, but then it's too political, the political agenda in it all and the Black Power thing. I don't see myself in that either. You know what I'm saying? But that's their effort to try to some kind of way preserve the culture. And I don't know about that, but that's not a place for me either. I don't see anything in that. But one thing about the Afrocentric community, they do address the fact that it's a problem and where the problem lies. So I must give them their props. I must. Because they know that it's an agenda at hand. Okay? I'm trying to think of the name of that. There's this agenda, and it has a name, and this preacher talks about it, and I cannot think of the name of it. The King Alfred Project or the King Alfred Agenda, something like that. But it goes into depth with how the powers that be, these people who control wealth. I'm not talking about any group of races of people, particular, because we are all in this boat of just really scratching and scrounging. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who control wealth. Those are the people that are oppressing all of us. They control all the revenue. They are the ones who decide that if you come from Mexico, we're going to give you a grant. If you come from Africa, we have a grant for you too. If you come from Europe, we have a grant for you. No matter where. You come from Asia, we got a grant for you. Start your own business. But the people, these so-called African American people in this culture, the only grants that they're allowed to have are grants, and they have churches. So that's why you got so many churches, because the government don't mind you having a church. After all, you're going to continue to, further their agenda and continue to condition the minds to submit. So it's cool. Oh, you need 50,000? Okay, you got a church. Ah, here you go. Here's 100,000. Go ahead and get your Cadillac. Do a little work to the church. Build your beautiful edifice. It's just a money making business, guys. And the government don't mind you having a little bit of money as long as you are working on the minds of the people in the church. So you can get a grant for that. You can also get a grant to go to school. Oh, yeah, we'll let you go to school. After all, you're training to be our slaves. That's all you're doing. You can have a grant to do that. Education is so high, you're still going to have to take out a loan. Oh, you're 21 and you're in debt already. You owe already $20,000 worth of student loans. Oh, you can borrow money to get a student loan to go to school so we can train you to be a slave for us, so you can work for us. You can sweat for us. You can break your back for us. You can have a loan. Only so you can go to school, but you cannot have a loan or a grant to start your own business. Oh no, mm-mm. That's not where we want you right now. You got to be African, Asian, or something like that. And look, I'm not a racist now. I'm just telling you honestly how it is. How I know? Oh, because I'm around quite a few Africans. And I'm just gonna be honest. I'd rather be around them than to be around some of these. Now I'm not talking about all African Americans. Y'all don't think that I have hate for my people. Well, for the people, okay? Because I still say I don't really want to be a part of that. And I'm sure it's a lot of African American people that feel the same way I do. It's not that we hate the people, we hate their mentality. What's their mentality? Embracing the church, a Bible that was not even written by them, buying into all of the hoopla and media, TV, social media, magazines, buying into that, buying into other people, other cultures' beauty, and totally um, criticizing your own and within your own culture. Sickness, man. I don't want to be a part of that. And that's why I say I want to know more about my father's side of the family, because when I see them, I see them embracing their culture. You just don't see the division there. I want to be a part of something where there's some strength there. And they're not caught all up on the culture thing, they're doing other things. They're raising people from the dead. We bickering back and forth how ugly our women are, and how broke our brothers are, how dumb our brothers are. That's not me. I refuse to be a part of that. And I wish I could have did this a long time ago, surrounded myself more in the African culture, long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm today, as of today, I am done. I'm no African American. I'm no black person. I'm African. I don't want to be a part of that. And I'm glad I can say that, because that's where my father is from. And I'm glad I got that. If I could, I would have grown up in some of those places, which not every one of those places are safe places, because some of those places are still at war, especially in Liberia. That place ain't no joke. Um, I got an African friend. His name is Todd. If you're watching, Todd, hi. Todd is from Somalia, and I have a couple of other African friends. One of them is like from Nigeria, and he told me, he said, "Baby," he said, "if you were in is it Accra? I might be saying it wrong, but he said if you were there, he said you'd be big woman. You'd have a butler, you have a maid, you have a chauffeur." He said they take the money. When they make the money, first of all, he told me he got a grant when he got here, so he started his own business. He's got his own mechanic service, so he got his own business going. They buy cars and stuff like that, and auction them off, and work on cars and stuff like. They do a lot of stuff like that. I have another African friend that's into real estate. I don't know if real estate any good right now, but let me tell you what they say all the time. They say this right here: your people, we're not like you. And Todd said in a minute, he said that they always say to him that he's not black, and Todd blacker than I am. He's darker than I am. He said, so no, I don't have to accept that. I don't have to say I'm African American. He said, I don't have to say any of those. I don't have to make a choice. So why do we, y'all? You know? So no longer. And Todd was encouraging me. He said, you need to really go back, and so you can change your ideology. And I'm truly considering it. That's why I want to hook up on my birth father. get to know him a little bit better and know what's going on, because I would love to go back. I don't know about Liberia because I haven't heard anything good about Liberia at all. I've heard some wonderful things about Accra, Nigeria, and Nairobi. Is it Kenya, Nairobi? I've heard some great things about those places, and they look. We always say they look very westernized, and we say that because when we see the high-rise buildings and all the beauty in Nairobi. It's a beautiful place. Look up Nairobi, the cities in Nairobi, because we got to realize that Kenya is a country, first of all. I saw it. It was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I said, "Oh my God, this place is not this place of this huge jungle, rainforest, the people running around butt naked. You know, these people they have suits and ties and dresses, and you know, they're people that look like me, and they're flying airplanes, and our children need to know these things. Oh my God, you tell a child, hey, you tell them anything about Africa, they want. And I used to be like that. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I did not find out because I began to do research on the continent Africa, and it's not no country, y'all. These rappers, they said something about a rapper went to Africa and came back and said, who they said that was? I can't even think of his name, and I don't want to lie and say the wrong guy. But they said he went to Africa and came back and said, I went to the country of Africa or something. I went to the country Africa or something. And everybody just either they didn't pay it any attention because a lot of ignorant people think that it's just a country, or either they laughed because they knew better. But I'm like this right here. I'm not no fool. I know he know it's a continent, but he is paid by these powers that be to say ignorance like that. That's the way they want to keep it. I think it was the OJ's Gerald. I can't think of his name. This Levert guy, and he was singing some song, and in the song he said he was calling out to the people of Egypt, and he was calling out to China, Russia, and Africa too. I want y'all to know that these stars, these celebrities, are very much aware of what they're saying, and they're very intelligent people. They're paid to do this. How can you separate Egypt from Africa? You got these people in this community, in this black community, in this African American community, that are cultured people that have the money, and they've gone all around the world, and they've seen things that we will probably never get a chance to see. They've had the privilege. And they know daggone well that you can't separate Egypt from Africa, because Egypt is in Africa. Egypt is an African country. And you can fit the United States of America in Africa, the largest continent in the world, at least about 3 times. That's no country. It's a continent. Many languages. So much diversity. No, people like me are not the only people live in Africa, okay? There are Middle Eastern people. There are European people. There are people, Asians. Everybody's there. And most of all your riches and wealth is in Africa. I heard another celebrity that said Africa is the poorest country in the world. I despise it. It's just like, you know how people say they cannot stand to hear nails just go across the blackboard or chalk scratch across the blackboard? That's how I feel when I hear these intelligent people, these intelligent rappers say ignorance like that. Because I already know that they've been paid to do so. Y'all, I'm going to end this video, but I just wanted to tell you I am no longer embracing the African American culture and the Black culture. I love the people in it. I'm just not going to be a part of the group. I will be embracing my African heritage from here on out. Okay, be back in a little bit. Okay, bye bye.